I want to share a real simple backstrap recipe with you. When it comes to eating backstraps, I usually cook it one of two ways. I either fry it or I cook it on the grill. And specifically on the grill, I like to do a reverse sear. So as you can see, I have about a 5-inch piece of backstrap. You can cut it at whatever length that you want. Just make sure that you have some consistency as far as the thickness. That 5 to 6 inch range is a good length and usually will feed about one person. The first step after you get it cut is to seasoning it. I use a real simple salt and pepper seasoning. You can get as crazy as you want with it. I like to try to keep the meat a pretty natural flavor, so this works for me. Now, the concept of reverse searing is that you're going to cook it at low heat. So think 180 to 200 degrees up to an internal temperature of 100 to 105. Then you're going to remove it from the grill, turn up the grill to 450 or even higher if your grill will go to a higher setting. And then once the grill is preheated to that higher temp, you're going to put it back on the grill to sear it. Now, some people will do that step in a cast iron skillet. Me, personally, my wife won't let me do that in the house because it fills up the house with smoke, but the grill can do it as well. So to sear it on the grill, once it's up to temp, cook it 4 to 5 minutes on one side, flip it over, cook it 4 to 5 minutes on the other, to your desired internal temp. Me, personally, I like to cook to an internal temp of 135. That consistency usually pleases most of my dinner guests. So stay tuned. I'll show you a couple more steps along the way. All right, we got the backstrap on the grill, temp set to 180, doing the reverse part of the reverse sear. Remember, the goal of this portion of cooking is to get it up to an internal temp about 100 to 105. How long will it take? I think 45 minutes to an hour, possibly an hour and 15 minutes, depending on what temp you set it to. Obviously, if you set it higher, it'll take longer. I like that 180 setting, just gives it a little bit more smoky flavor. If you don't want to do the reverse part, you just want to cook it if you're in a crunch for time. I do that all the time as well. You'll just basically crank the grill up to 450 and cook it a little longer on each side. So if you're just cooking it that way, or you're not bringing it up to the internal temp, think about probably 8 minutes, 9 minutes on each side should get it to the temperature that you desire. But it's looking good, and stay tuned. We'll bring more. All right, I got the internal temp up to a little over 100, then I cranked up the grill, seared the first side. It did take a little bit longer. It probably was more like 6 or 7 minutes to get it to the temp to where I wanted to flip it, but now I got it on the other side and it should be done here shortly. All right, so here is the final result. We got the internal temp up to about 135. I did let it rest for about 5 minutes, which seems to be, from a consensus, the thing that you should do. But really ready just to cut into this thing and see how it looks. So, got my Benchmade meat crafter knife, and I'm just going to slice this real thin. And you can see, maybe cooked it just a tad too long, but overall, that's going to be a good texture. One of the things with wild game, that's good. But one of the things with wild game is that I never try to have it too bloody when I serve it to someone. Like if I was going to eat this myself, I'd probably try to cook it maybe 130 and then let it rest. But this is just a good internal temp. You can see there's still quite a bit of rareness, but it's easy for someone to eat and they're not going to get turned off if there's a lot of red fluid coming out of it. So overall, I'm happy how this turned out. Hopefully you found this video beneficial. If you did, like and subscribe. Thanks.